You know what is happening. The truth is undeniable. Those who scheme, those who manipulate, always end up facing their own trap. The cycle repeats. He disguises, he lies, he gets closer, and you, driven by hope, try to understand. You wait, justify, adapt, remain. But look, nothing changes. The pattern is confirmed. The trap returns to who created it. The reality is brutal. The other doesn't need you. The other doesn't care. You are just a detail in his narrative, and when his invention returns, it doesn't bring redemption. It brings destruction. You call it complicated because accepting that the truth is simple is frightening. You seek explanations that do not exist. The bond only remains because you sustain it. Not for the value, but the need to not feel disposable. The responsibility weighs, but it is not yours. You are not responsible for others' plots. You are responsible for your own choice to remain. And deciding not to act is an action in itself. The cost is yours. The trap has already returned to the owner. The truth has already been presented. Time advances, but the dynamic remains static. You find yourself trapped in a storyline you do not write, a part in a play where the lead actor disregards your value. He does not need rehearsals or lessons. You await applause that never comes, while he acts without hesitation. Each time he returns, you ask yourself, why am I still here? The answer is clear and raw. You are here because uncertainty is more comfortable than the decision. Accepting that the relationship is one-sided requires courage, and courage is a distant concept when all you know is repetition. He ignores your needs. He silences your voice. And even so, you adapt. You juggle fragments of attention you receive. Every gesture you make seeks to validate him, while reality destroys any remnants of self-esteem. You don't realize it, but it becomes a routine. Like a broken clock, you can predict the moments when he will appear, but never when he will stay. The cycle is predictable, but you find yourself waiting for the unexpected that never comes. In his mind, there are other plots, other people, other priorities. You're a note in the score of his life, but never the full melody. This awareness weighs heavily, and the more you try to understand, the more you sink into your own confusion. He laughs at your quest while you pay the emotional price for every interaction. The connection you feel is an echo of your own projections. You call it love because you are afraid to call it dependency. But what really exists between you is an abyss, a void that you try to fill with empty promises and illusory hopes. When you say goodbye, he says he will come back, and you believe him. He always promises to come back. It's the only constant in this unpredictable dance. But in his absence, you find yourself surrounded by your own loneliness, disguised as expectation. Meanwhile, new stories unfold around you. Friends leave, relationships deteriorate, opportunities disappear. You become a reflection of something you do not wish to be, a shadow of what could have been, but was not. And when you look in the mirror, you no longer recognize the reflected image. In his mind, you are a momentary necessity. He feeds off your presence but does not commit to your well-being. This is not love. It is a transaction, and you continue to pay. The bond only persists because you sustain it. You convince yourself that one day he will realize what he has in hand, but this belief is a burden you carry. One day, the truth strikes like lightning. You realize that all of this is a game to him. He collects moments like trophies, and you are just another prize he displays. And yet, you wait. Hope is the last to die, but death is inevitable. In the end, who sacrifices? You do. Who questions themselves? You do. The cost is yours. And on the scale, what do you gain? Only frustrations and scars. The trap has already returned to its owner. The space you occupy is simply a reflection of the acceptance of your own insignificance. While he takes advantage, you remain paralyzed. Deciding is frightening, but staying is a conscious choice. The change will not come from him. The transformation is not in his hands. It's time to face the naked truth. What lies ahead is the choice to free yourself from the prison you built. You no longer need this narrative. The story has already been written, but it's up to you to decide whether you will continue to rewrite it or close it for good. There is no redemption in returning. There is no happiness in waiting. What exists is the opportunity to break this corrosive cycle. And when you finally do it, you will understand that freedom is not just the absence of chains, but also the courage to cut the emotional ties that bind you. The reality has already been presented. Freedom is not an abstract concept. It is visceral. It is the sensation of weight being lifted from your shoulders, a breath of fresh air in a suffocating environment. And you know that this moment is possible. However, the resistance is brutal. The fear of change hangs in the air like a dense fog. You fear the unknown more than the familiar pain. You can see it around you. Parallel lives, people who chose to leave the cycle. And yet there is a voice inside you that says, what if he changes? What if there is hope? This doubt is your prison. Every time you look at the past, you notice how time drags on. But it is not time that passes slowly. It's your own inertia. He still appears, even without warning, like a shadow cast in the light of reason. Each encounter, a new blow. Each message, a new thread of hope that transforms into prison ropes. The connection you feel is an illusion. He is trapped in his own narrative, while you are enmeshed in his. You believe it can be different, that your love can shape him, but you realize that this belief isn't love. It's disguised expectation. Expectation is an emotional trap that tightens every day. You await his return and wonder what you did wrong. The internal judgment is harsh. He doesn't ponder over it. He simply moves on. His indifference is like a sharp blade cutting deep. You try to piece yourself back together, but they fall apart with each interaction. The truth is, your story was never a priority. The silent promises are like echoes lost in the void. You watch friends who distance themselves, families who worry, all trying to pull you out, but how to explain something you don't even understand? How to share this pain that turns into loneliness? What you hold in silence is a deafening scream inside of you, a desire to be seen, to be heard. When you finally allow yourself to look within, you see a disillusioned man or woman, every worry line, every uncried tear, a mark of the internal battle between the desire to keep the relationship and the need for liberation. Accepting that you are not the reason he doesn't change is a crucial step. This recognition brings an anger you didn't know existed. The anger is powerful. It cuts like a knife, but it can also be a tool. You decide not to let this energy turn into resentment, but rather into strength. The anger is just a signal, a signal that you still care about yourself, that there's still a spark of fight within you. Now you begin to observe things with clarity. Daily interactions become evidence of a pattern that has already become unsustainable. It appears as frequently as empty promises. The dynamic transforms into a spectacle of illusions. And you, the audience that applauds in silence, begin to feel the exhaustion. Recovery will not be instantaneous. There is no magic button you can press to eliminate all of this. The deconstruction process is slow and methodical, but every small step is a victory, a conscious decision to choose yourself. Solitude may be frightening, but solitude with a purpose is a path to self-discovery. You make the decision to cut ties, a simple act but filled with emotional complexity. You give up what never truly belonged to you. His presence does not represent commitment, it is dependence disguised. The space you were occupying will now be filled with new experiences, more valuable, more authentic. By doing this, you listen to yourself. Every desire, every need, every part of you that was suffocated begins to emerge. You realize you have value, not because someone recognized it, but because you decide to recognize yourself. You stop being a shadow in your own life. When you realize that true transformation does not come from someone else but from within, you begin to flow. The pain does not completely disappear, but you learn to dance with it, to accept what cannot be changed, and to seek what brings you peace. The goal is not eternal happiness, but the ability to live moments without fear. And when you finally look back, you see not a failure but a lesson learned, a cycle completed that redirected your life. The trap did not return. You are no longer a prisoner of someone who doesn't know what they want. You become the protagonist of your own story. The cycle is closed. What lies ahead of you now is a future to be written, and the first page begins with the affirmation that you have the power to choose. Freedom is within your reach, and this is more real than any promise a shadow has made. Reality has already been presented. You now see life with new eyes. The perception that each experience shapes not only who you are, but also who you can become. Freedom is not a destination, but a state of being. You recognize that the chains were always a mental construct. The true prison was in your mind. As you observe life around you, you notice the echoes of the decisions you have made. Each choice, even the ones that seemed wrong, brought lessons. The past is not a burden, it is a map, a guide that reveals paths you have already traveled and those you wish to explore. You are no longer at the mercy of someone else. Each step is yours. The memories still emerge like shadows, but now, instead of fearing them, you allow yourself to feel their weight. And with that, a new strength arises. You decide that pain will not define your future. Instead, it will become part of the story you tell, a story that does not need to get tangled in the plots of others. You find yourself in a moment of introspection. Each emotion, each thought brings a surprising clarity. You understand that you are not a burden to anyone. Every tie that binds is your choice, made in moments of insecurity. Today, that uncertainty is replaced by self-confidence. You realize that you can be the protagonist of your own narrative without the need for a supporting character who does not value your role. As you step away from the cycle of dependency, you begin to surround yourself with new energies, people who truly care. Smiles that do not require effort to be earned. Each interaction is now different. There is authenticity in the connection. There are no empty promises, only the raw and tangible reality of the present. Solitude, once feared, is now an ally, a sacred space for self-knowledge. It is in this silence that you learn to listen to your own voice, the one that had been silenced for so long. You explore new interests, new hobbies, rediscover passions that you had set aside. Each day a new piece of you is revealed, and this discovery is invigorating. You start to make plans, small goals that are just yours, financial independence, a personal project, maybe even a solo trip. All of this is a reflection of your new understanding of yourself. You are not seeking validation. You seek fulfillment, and this change in perspective transforms everything. Then an internal call appears, an intuition that tells you to look within yourself as never before, deeply. You begin to reflect on who you really are, not who the others expected you to be. In doing so, you realize there are still wounds, scars that need to be treated, not ignored. Instead of resisting, you choose to accept these marks. They are part of you, but they do not define your value. You explore these feelings. Now, you have the courage to confront them. You recognize that the pain is real, but it does not need to be an obstacle. In fact, it can be a path to connect with others who face similar battles. Empathy grows within you. You begin to see beyond yourself, allowing yourself to understand the struggles of others. Human connection becomes deeper and more meaningful. You become a source of support for those still trapped in the cycle that once enveloped you. The stories you hear are echoes, but now they echo with hope, not despair. You become a beacon for those still navigating turbulent waters. This new role strengthens you. You realize what once seemed like fragility has turned into resilience. Overcoming is not a window to success, but an open door to empathy and understanding. You accept your vulnerability as an integral part of your strength, and it is in this acceptance that a profound desire arises to help those who live in similar cycles. You begin to share your story, not as a tale of victimization, but as a testimony of transformation. With each word, you redefine your narrative. With each shared experience, you offer a glimpse of possibility. There are no magical promises, only the bare and raw truth that change is painful, but absolutely possible. Over time, you realize that freedom is a continuous process. As soon as you break free from one cycle, new challenges may arise. But now you are equipped to handle them. You have learned to dance with the pain, to live with uncertainty, to embrace the unknown. You understand that to live fully means to be honest with yourself, to recognize that every decision, every step is a reflection of what you desire for yourself. Life is not made of guarantees, but of choices. The choice to get up after every fall, the choice to love yourself before anyone else. This new understanding is the foundation upon which you build the future, a future that is no longer a continuation of a vicious cycle, but a gift of opportunities. As you look to the horizon, there are no more shadows haunting you. What exists is a vast and open field, ready to be explored by you and only by you. Reality has already been presented. Freedom is yours.